Hello and welcome to this quick video of one of the features in Worldographer. I'm the creator of the program, Joe Wetzel, and I had a question about the grids and how to have a battle mat with a hex-based grid. I know some games, some role-playing games like, oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank now, GURPS use that in particular, and I'm sure others do as well. Okay, so what you see in front of you is a battle mat that was auto-generated by Worldographer's built-in blacksmith creation functionality. It will auto-generate a number of different types of battle mats, and this is one of them. If you want to turn off the grid, you can just go down here on the bottom, and you've got this show checkbox. And if you want to configure it, you come here. Now, by default, Worldographer, I should point out, thinks and the maps are in hexes for your world kingdom level as well as your city village level maps. However, in the case of your battle mats, oftentimes you want to have buildings that have squared, lined up ends and stuff. So for those we are actually square based, and but you can, in either case, you can switch it to the other map style with the configure button next to this grid down here. If you want to be configuring a hex grid, you want to use these here. Now, usually you're only going to use this top little section here. The rest of this is all for if you're using Worldographer's map levels functionality, where you can kind of have a hex within a hex within a hex within a hex to kind of drill down. And that's what this additional stuff is for. Hopefully it makes a lot of sense to anybody looking at it, but it's just what is the look of the grid that represents the next level. How does that change? And by default it just becomes thicker. And there's also a way to kind of offset it with these settings over here. For our purposes though, because this is a battle mat, it's by default set to use a square grid instead. As I said, it's just a matter of switching that back to no, so that we're going to go to our regular grid, and now you've got this. Here we've got our hexes are a little bit squished because you're trying to fit them into the square grid that, as I said, this map was built with the understanding of the square grid. If you really want to tinker with that, turn off the preserve aspect ratio. This controls your dimensions, so you can change the height, and I think we would need to make it a little bit bigger. So if I go 130, for example, you get that. Now that does skew your map a little bit, so you kind of want to trade off on that. How much does that matter to you? Do you want more realistic looking hexes, or do you want your building dimensions to be what you had originally? But anyway, back to the main concept here is to go back to this gear icon to configure that, and that allows you to make those changes. And then if you want to tinker with the actual color or transparency, I personally like to set these to be a little bit transparent. So since we're dealing with hex right now, since we've got the hex grid on, we should be tinkering with this as opposed to this color over here if we were doing the square grid. I would hit custom color here, brings up this color picker, and now I can set the opacity. I can set it to something like 25%, save it, hit OK. And now you can see that that's all faded out. And so that I like that because it kind of gives you a view of the map where the hex grid, or any grid, whichever grid you're using, isn't as in your face. So again, that's this little quick look at one of the features in Worldographer, which is how to configure your grids. Thank you very much for your interest. Give the tool a try, and let me know how you think, or what you think of it.